Hey, everybody, welcome to Race Sundays. We are at Azerbaijan, and this is how our team's looking. I mean, overall, it wasn't great, but we'll get into it a little bit. All right, and we're back, and it's been a long month.
What? It wasn't summer break? No way, it wasn't. It was spring break. I don't know. What are we calling this? Like 4 weeks of no racing?
Yeah, I think it sort of confused me a little bit when someone referred to this is the seventh week.
I did. I said that.
You said that.
I was
Okay.
all depressed about my fantasy team, and then realized it's only race week 4.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I mean, so this is the first time we were having a sprint race with new sprint rules in Azerbaijan
Yeah, Baku.
and Baku. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
Interesting format. So for those of you who didn't follow it that closely, there was exactly one practice on the Friday, and then they did qualifying for the Grand Prix on Sunday. And then Saturday, they did a shootout qualifying for the sprint. So basically, they have less time for qualifying and mandated tires they have to use. So
yeah, it was like two mediums.
and then softs in the final top 10.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about the sprint is that it's not really, it doesn't count for anything. Like the actual sprint itself, previously the sprint actually was the actual positions that you would actually end up
I mean, there's
and
points
end up.
associated with it, but
There
it's a basically it's a race preview. It's a shorter version of what's going to happen on Sunday, which is kind of, I don't know. It wasn't very exciting. I don't really like this format.
There was a lot of risk involved too. I mean, basically like, who was it that basically
Russell making the move on Verstappen, and
Yeah.
Verstappen's kind of mad about it, but then they're like, Russell has nothing to lose because he had a bad position for Sunday.
and if you crashed your car like Logan Sargent,
Doesn't
you're
matter.
you're out of that the actual the sprint itself, right?
Yeah, you're
So-
out of the sprint, but I don't know. I guess this is a completely new format. I think I'd rather see them do what F2 does, where you do the qualifying and that sets the grid for the race on the Sunday, but then on the Saturday when they do the sprints, they reverse the top 10. I think that would be exciting. But
So let's talk about the sprint quickly, and
Yeah.
let's talk about who actually finished on top. So in third place, and I think everyone was celebrating this except for his fans. We have Verstappen, and he was complaining. He cried about. He literally, you know how I joked about how George Russell cried about. Max Verstappen literally cried about it. Like he actually went up and sort of vented, similar to what he was doing to Lewis Hamilton back in the day when they were
yeah, but
fighting.
Russell came up. Russell apologized. Like honestly,
He didn't accept it.
He didn't accept it.
He didn't
but Russell
accept
did
it.
apologize.
Call him a
and-
D-head.
Yeah, whatever. He did, but listen, it just shows how fast those Red Bulls are. Max had literally a hole in the side of his side pod.
And he was still catching up
And he
to
was still catching
up to this man.
Poor Leclerc. I mean, at least he got points.
He got points, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
And-
Had pole, let's be honest. He started on pole for the sprint and started on pole for the race, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had a great weekend qualifying.
He just doesn't know. He can't do anything about it.
Couldn't convert.
And we have the man of the hour,
Mr.
Sergio Perez. Like,
So, I mean, let's break this down, right? He's the first, like, he won Baku before. He loves street races, right?
Yeah.
That's every win he's had on a street race. And yeah, I mean, let's talk about what happened on Sunday.
all right, so I'm gonna reset the card. All right, so
all right,
Sunday.
So you reset the cards.
I reset the cards because I'm tentative that way, but I also do want to thank you for the nice poster in the back of.
Oh, you want to pause and acknowledge?
I want to pause and acknowledge your nice gift. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful Oscar Piastri. I mean, I think those who have watched us last year know I'm a fan. Yeah, I think
This was first points in Australia, and gorgeous picture.
and it's a Kim Illman, so it's
Yeah.
Kim
Shout
Illman's
out
a
to Kim
fantastic.
Illman.
Fantastic photographer.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I wish I could photograph like he does. And I mean, I'm curious if y'all know where to get these photo passes. Let me know. I would love to photograph some of these events. So, yeah, photographer at heart. So, all right. So Sunday, what happens?
Okay, so Leclerc has pole,
Leclerc has pole, and
but Ferraris aren't fast.
exactly. So the actual standings ends up being Charles Leclerc in third, unfortunately.
I mean, he held off everybody else. Nobody else caught him.
Yeah, nobody else caught him. And in second place, you see 2 Red Bull cards. Now, which Red Bull do you think? You would assume that race orders would suggest that and Jost would sort of call out
Who's Jost?
or whatever his name is, Jost.
Christian.
No, Verstappen's dad.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
The guy the true guy behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Except it didn't happen. He finished in second.
He was 3 seconds behind.
Three.
They got the strategy wrong. You have a crash.
Yeah, that's true.
You have a safety car. Max had gone in before. This is the risk on a street circuit, right? He went in ahead of time because he's complaining about his tires, and they brought him in, and then it was full safety car, and it benefited Perez, and Max lost the lead. He
absolutely
lead,
true. I mean,
lost the lead.
Absolutely true. I mean, Perez, drove like a demon.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest to all you folks. Like, the race was so boring. I actually fell asleep.
Yes.
Or roughly on lap 25 or 30. I literally fell asleep in the race. So, much of the information is going to come from Dr. F1 here because I literally fell asleep because it was so boring.
We kept hoping and hoping for something to happen. The most exciting thing of the entire race was, honestly, on the very last lap. So two drivers, Hülkenberg and Ocon, started from the pit lane, began the race, went out on hards. Hards could last the whole race. Hülkenberg finally went in. I think it was like 3 or 4 laps out. Ocon dove into the pit. He kept hoping for a safety car. Nothing happened, and he finally had to go and make his mandatory pit stop on the very last lap. And what happened was Perez had already started his final lap, so they were getting ready for the celebrations. And I don't know, they let some photographers and some VIPs not only into the pit lane, but into the fast lane where the cars come in. And like Ocon had to slam on the brakes, and people had to jump out of the way. So if you haven't seen the video, go check that out, because it's definitely a safety concern. FIS to look into it, but.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty dangerous. I mean, I should think they were saying that the photographers were actually yelling at people like to actually get out of the way because they knew that Ocon actually hasn't finished. So why don't we get breaking? We'll break while we chat.
Yeah.
So it was I don't know. I found it boring. I mean, George Russell did finish. Actually, he moved up pretty quickly, quite a bit.
Russell came up, but Hamilton was still ahead. Hamilton and Alonzo had a few trades. Alonzo then was chasing down Sainz. Like, I don't know. It was okay. Listen, it was okay. In the end, Russell got his fastest lap. That's what he did.
He did. He actually Russell had the fastest lap. Stole some points away from Red Bull, and This driver here is probably regretting retiring a little too early. Vettel?
I don't know. Like, would Aston Martin be as good this year? I don't know. I think that's Alonso. He does add about a second to every car. Every team he's ever gone to, the car is a second faster.
Everyone's saying also he's a lot nicer this year. I think
Listen.
His stepdad is.
Lawrence Stroll has paid him so much money.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is 100%.
The reason why I'm paused on Daruvala, during the sprint, I mean, F2 sprint, it was a disaster. I mean, who was it? I can't think of his name, but he drove into the wall, and Daruvala just drove into the back of him.
We couldn't do anything.
He had no chance. He's like, oh, you got no chance. I was pinched out.
Yeah, go watch that if you get a chance. Just the highlights of the F2.
The Halo saved him.
Yeah,
absolutely saved them.
It was a mess.
Halo absolutely
Cars
saved them.
on top of cars.
And look at this, teammates. Verstappen.
As long as Verstappen's number one.
Exactly. That's why he's on the left side, not the right.
Pierre, he did not have it. Listen, Alpine had a bad weekend.
Both Alpines had bad. Both of them did. The only person who had
a worse weekend was Nick de Vries.
Nick de Vries and Yuki Tsunoda. I mean,
he had a good race on Sunday.
He didn't finish.
He finished Sunday. He didn't finish the sprint.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely
points.
right.
He got points on.
See, that's what happens when we have
That's what happens when you go to sleep.
When you go to sleep and when there's 2 races. There's Ocon.
Yeah. He had an okay race.
Ooh, that's interesting.
What's that?
That's an F1 limited edition gold card.
Okay.
Never seen that before.
Interesting.
It's not numbered. It's a gold card. I wonder if we use this at in Austria, whether they'll...
I don't think anything's gonna come out of a game in Austria, but it's probably some send-in. You probably send it for something.
It's just a limited edition cover card. That's all.
Yeah.
I'll have that in my background one of these weeks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the sprints. I don't know. And then here we have Franz Tost. He's announced that he's retiring at the end of the season. George Russell.
Yeah, used to be Mr. Saturday. Now he's, I don't know,
Something.
Mr. Fastest Lap.
Mr. Fastest Lap. Lando Norris and
okay race. Not so much in the sprint race though.
Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, he had a bad weekend too.
The Alphas haven't just looked awful.
Well, Guan Yu Zhou didn't finish.
Yeah, Guan Yu did not finish. They look. I'm gonna substitute. I'm gonna actually use this card now for him. Flash of brilliance, because he is brilliant. Yeah. He's a brilliant driver. Pit stop award.
Well, Red Bull's always fine. They had the fastest pit stop this week.
Christian Horner.
Mr. Ginger Spice.
Mr. Ginger Spice. That's the name of one of my other teams. And Guan Yu Zhou. Interesting. I mean, overall, nothing really happened.
I'll tell you something. We're in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, and I have the option of meeting Christian Horner or Jerry Halliwell. I'm going with Ginger Spice.
I'm choosing Ginger Spice too. Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you want, what you really want. George Russell. Ooh, there we go. That's a blue card. That's numbered out of 99.
Nice. Hamilton?
And it's a 199. 199. And it's a Hamilton.
Nice.
It's another hammer. I feel like I've gotten this card, but like in a purple or something.
Maybe.
It could be. I should double check at some point. And we have a checkered flag of Lando. And Antonio Giovinazzi. Charles Leclerc with his fire suit. And Fernando, your favorite. And they're in Baku there. I know the background. It's that castle.
Fernando's my favorite, and even if it's totally not true, the rumor that he's dating Taylor Swift just makes me happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's nice. What is that?
That's a nice
Aston?
card. That's an Aston. That is a Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll Aston.
I actually saw some Canadian flags in the crowd waving for, I'm assuming, for Lance.
That's cool. Lewis.
Nice.
Danny Rick.
Oh, I miss Danny Rick. I didn't see him at all. Like, he was all over the screen in Australia, and this week he was. I bet they didn't take him to Baku.
He's not allowed. He
does a lot of promotional stuff for them.
True. F2 race, and that's Prima.
Yeah. Prima had a good weekend.
That's a rainbow foil. Oh, that's a Dennis Hauger. He didn't have a good weekend.
He didn't, but Prima did.
I think he was the cause at the sprint. He was the one who ran into the wall. Then the person behind him, because he was in the lead. He was in the lead. He was in the lead, and he ran. He clipped the wall, broke his tire. The guy behind him hit whatever, and
anyway, it was a mess.
It was a mess.
Like 7 cars that had problems.
Exactly. Max is just like, I wonder what he's gonna do.
I like that Maddie's trying to jinx him.
Oh yeah, if you gotta watch P1 with Maddie and Tommy, they're a fantastic bunch of guys. They used to be WTF1, and they're no longer there.
They're just on P1, but yeah.
The podium. That's a little bit of not really. And then Max holding the trophy, which he didn't win. And
that would have been, I think that's the season him and Lewis fighting out for the world. I think it's his first world championship.
True, yeah, it probably is. And this is the Lando. Lando, I have a love-hate for Lando. Every time I pick Lando on the fantasy team, he doesn't do well. So
both you and I suffered from that this weekend. But the funniest part, I was going to say, so my brain works this way. Lando, the one where he didn't go in and change his tires for the wets a couple years ago when he didn't win, and Lewis won. Olcom was being a little bit like that this week, not because it was raining, but he kept hoping it would rain. The safety car wasn't coming, so he's literally on the radio in the last couple laps going, "I think it's getting dark," and everyone's like, "It's not getting dark."
That's true. I mean, the McLarens actually looked
They're
a lot.
faster.
They're a lot better. They're a lot
The
faster.
upgrade is good. They look better. They got in the points, but I don't know if they'd been in the points if Alpine was having a better weekend.
True. Well, listen, it's only week 4, and
Even though I feel like it's 7.
yeah, but hey, next week we are in Miami.
Ooh, welcome to Miami.
In Benito, Miami. All right, folks. Have a great week. Let us know what you think. Did you like this race? Let us know what you think. Have a great week.